Good evening. Welcome in Delhi UPSC editorial radio program. Bengaluru's dry run is a national crisis. Crisis of time, the Hindu. Now the full editorial. Bengaluru's dry run is a national crisis. The Economic Times. Most Indian cities face grave water risk with the latest warning coming from the country's favorite tech town Bengaluru. Large parts, especially those without piped Kaveri water, that include high-end apartments, are experiencing shortages. Social media posts suggest that the resident of upmarket condos are using toilets in local malls since there is no water at home. Authorities have asked residents to use water judiciary pressed into service extra water tankers and kept tanker prices for 4 months. This is not the look to be Viksit Bharat. Bengaluru's water crisis is not a uh, resource scarcity. It is a combination of bad water management, water illiterate residents, contaminated supplies, leaky distribution networks, and extensive urbanization. The city has grown horizontally and vertically, so not all places have Kaveri water. These areas depend on groundwater on tankers that bring water from borewell from adjoining towns. Many borewells are running dry as aquifers have not been recharged. The city has also lost its lakes that recharged aquifer, aquifers in 1961. Bengaluru had 262 lakes. Today it has 81. Unplanned urbanization has also altered the local ecology, hydrology, and environment. Many of these problems beset other cities as well. A 2021 WWF report warned that 30 Indian cities will face grave water risk. Bangalore could have avoided this crisis if government and citizens took care of basic water saving and augmentation measures as suggested by Karnataka Water Policy 2022. The plan suggests recycling, reusing tre- treated wastewater, rainwater harvesting, and industrial water use planning. The city's population is expected to touch 20.3 million by 2031. Bengaluru and the other cities must act now or face a parched future. Crisis of time, the Hindu. Rapid growth, such as Bengaluru's this century, and short termism cannot coexist. The Karnataka water crisis has affected more than 7,000 villages, 1,100 wards, and 220 talukas thus far. The problem encompasses Mandya and Mysuru districts, where a major Kaveri River watershed and the Krishnaraj Sagar Dam are located, and both important sources of water to Bengaluru. While the capital has hogged the headlines, the effects of the crisis are wider. Reports have suggested that the distal cause is the insufficient rainfall last year, following the surplus in 2022, and the resulting under replenishment of the Kaveri. Erratic rainfall is now new to Karnataka. A, a coffee agroforestry network CAFNet project a decade ago assessed a 60-year of data and found the rainy season over Kodagu had shrunk by 2 weeks in 3 decades, while annual rainfall seems to un, undulate in a 12 to 14-year cycle. Yet the crisis now has come as a surprise thanks to Bengaluru's lack of preparation, a travesty for being one of India's wealthiest urban municipalities and home to many research institutions. Bengaluru's consumes roughly 1,400 million liter a day each from the Kaveri and groundwater reserve. The groundwater recharge rate is much lower while the Kaveri was compromised by last year's deficient rain. These are deficits only related to Bengaluru's demand. The situation is worse further away from the city center. This is ironic because these areas do not receive piped water from the Kaveri and depend on groundwater and water tanker, whereas the city was engineered for centuries until the ninth to move away from water from distant sources and towards its surface of lakes. Seasonal lakes have since dwindled, while perennial lakes have been strangled by concretization and sewage. Climate change is a crisis of time. It precipitates non-linear changes that lead to disproportionate and sometimes irreversible outcomes, forcing underprepared governments to mount rapid responses to forces that have been fostering for decades. Even if the a erratic rainfall is unrelated to climate change, the phenomena promises more un, unpredictability. In this regard, Bengaluru and most Indian cities will achieve little when they mount stopgap measures in the event of a crisis and drop a long-term view once the crisis has ended. Rapid growth such as Bengaluru has had this century and short termism cannot coexist. There is a need for bipartisan solutions that transcend the change in government every 5 years. A circular water economy that maximizes the utility of every liter, reducing the city's dependence on external resource, and not to forget a clean and healthy Kaveri. Thank you.